Kids say the darndest things. Well, antibiotic resistance is a major concern for human healthcare and animal agriculture. To discuss how the sector can improve its antimicrobial stewardship, we're joined by Matt Becker from Lallemand. Great to see you here, Matt.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Antimicrobial stewardship, it's a big focus in the industry, particularly in the grain-fed space. Why is it such a challenge?
So if we set up the problem, Lindsay, 1.3 million people will die this year from infections caused by microbes that are no longer responding to current antibiotics. World Health Organization suggests that by 2050 we'll have 10 million people per year will be dying from infections that currently can be solved with local antibiotics. Now, although we don't use antibiotics that are critical for human health in animal agriculture in Australia, there are antibiotics being used, and we need to ensure that we manage those antibiotics as carefully as possible.
And the answer can't be just the development of more and more antibiotics. We need to be looking at alternative solutions. It's potentially catastrophic if we don't. Where does yeast potentially fit into all of this?
So a yeast is a really great therapy that we can use. It doesn't involve antibiotics. It actually, in some cases, can sit alongside antibiotics, make ourselves, make our animals more comfortable. So effectively using yeast as, if you like, an immunobiotic. So we can encourage the native microflora in the gut, and as we know, 70% of our immune system lives in the intestine, and within that intestine also there is as many bacterial cells as we have cells in the human body. If we can have a yeast that sits in there, supports that local microbiome, and I guess modulates inflammation, giving our immune system a bit of a look without moving into that high level, shall we say, inflammation, which is of course the current nasty disease of all humans.
Now, Lallemand, who you're with, have been in the yeast space for over 100 years, but not necessarily always focused on livestock.
No, I think you might be surprised to know. So you know Lallemand, you might have the last Cooper's beer you opened, or Hahn beer that was made with Lallemand yeast, the Penfolds wines, and into pretty much every bottle of champagne that you might drink, Lallemand yeast is been involved. So they've used that technology then and used their history with yeast to look at particular yeast that might be useful, and bacteria, by the way, that might be useful in animal health. So we can supercharge a rumen, really pushing that grass fibre digestibility along, grow more beef, right through to looking after that gut and reducing the amount of antibiotics and just having a healthy animal on the inside.
Matt, you've had a fascinating career all around the world in the animal health space and in R&D. Tell us a bit about where you've been and what you've seen and what's coming down the pipeline for this resistance solution.
Yeah, sure. So rather than, I guess, talk about me, I'm really keen on sharing where Lallemand is. I'm fairly new to the group, so forgive me, I'm quite keen on sharing my history just with them. They're working with some of the most exciting scientific groups across Europe, across Canada and in the United States, and the university work we're doing here is terrific. So the same technology that I guess makes a fruity hoppy beer, a nice little tang to a red wine, or give the correct pop to champagne, they're now pushing into new areas. I've got a little gift for you, actually.
Oh, please.
Lindsay.
It could have been some Penfolds, but all right, I'll take it.
So this is Cerebiome. So it's actually a human health probiotic. But to give you an idea how far these guys are moving ahead, so Cerebiome is the first registered psychobiotic. So it works with, there's two specific strains of bacteria that will actually improve the gut-brain barrier. It will reduce anxiety.
Day-to-day stress,
I love it.
Live TV, can I just tell you?
Absolutely.
You've brought me the right medicinal treat there.
So a 44% reduction in stress, reduction in cortisol, and improvement in the serotonin precursors. It's pretty cool, kind of emerging science, but it's already edging into animals a lot earlier than we thought. Imagine if we can make our animals, that we have a covenant with our animal livestock. We want to make sure they're as comfortable as possible. So just an example of where we're headed.
Matt, I also want to know how widely yeast is used currently in the livestock space.
Yeah, sure. So for over 100 years, yeast and bacteria have been used in our foods, and then a lot of our food byproducts have been fed to animals, thinking brewer's yeast, things like that animals have utilised. And by far one of the biggest uptakes. People understand that probiotics, so live bacteria and live yeast, that can assist us in, or assist our animals in growth and health, are a great thing to have. And so be very, very few animal diets that wouldn't contain, or at least consider probiotic of some form.
Matt Becker, it's been a joy to catch up with you. I do really appreciate this little gift, and it will go to good use. Would have liked it on Monday. We'll take it on Friday from Lallemand, and really interesting to hear about the role yeast can play in antimicrobial resistance. Well, we're going to head on down to Centre